Welcome everyone to Amir Shakur Speaks with your host, Amir Shakur, that'll be me. Today we're just continuing a situation that was very, very tragic, and hopefully everybody can really participate and really take part in. For me, it's hard to really put into words. It's hard to describe. This is part two of the situation on the ground with Semaj Crosby, and we are remembering this baby whose life was lost tragically. And our effort is just to make sure that not only is her name continuously reverberated and throughout the community and abroad, but we just want to bring resolution and just as a reminder, this baby's life was lost tragically tragic circumstances out in Joliet, Illinois, which we'll talk about really soon. Um, Before I introduce all of the guests and the co-hosts, I just want to say we're going to open up the show not on a sad note, but on a great note and a positive note because Samaje, we are working towards the effort of bringing resolution. So please know, baby, we're not stopping, and this is why we're here. So just so you know. With that being said, I'd like to welcome you to Amir Shakur Speaks, which brings the best of faith, politics, and news, all done from an inspirational urban perspective. Today, our show is sponsored by Black America World News, the Chicago Urban Daily, and the Amir Shakur Speaks Broadcast Network. I'd like to introduce my special guest in the studio one at a time. First, I'd like to introduce our guest host, Miss Grace Levi.
Blessings,
Welcome.
blessings, and good evening. How are you?
Oh, I'm blessed. I'm blessed, but I'm doing better now.
Look, God is good. I hopefully we don't. I don't have any glitches on my screen. Please let me know if my black background glitch.
Oh yeah.
Doing
Okay. If it
that.
gets a little glitchy, I'll definitely let you know. But you're solid. You're solid. You're
Thank you. I
solid.
took a nap.
Hey, it's always good to get rest and get sleep, right? All
Yes.
right. Well, okay. So Grace, we're gonna let you take the mantle, but before we do that, we got to introduce our other two special guests. Um, the Semaj Crosby Coalition for Justice. I believe that's where we left off at. So we have Jones Leslie or Leslie Jones, whichever one you really want to go by. I think we know you affectionately as Miss Leslie. Welcome. Your Leslie, your phone is a little bit muffled right now. Yeah, a little bit. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give you a chance to get that situated, and then we're gonna introduce Tara, and then we'll let you work with that, okay? So give me 1 second, and then so Miss Tara, again, another part of the Semaj Crosby Coalition for Justice, and we want to welcome you to Miss Shakur Speaks. How are you this evening?
Hello, I'm here. I can't
Okay,
complain.
can't complain.
Looking a little
Okay,
rough. Just got off work.
okay, right. So, can we just do a little brief introduction on you, and then we'll introduce Leslie, and then we'll go ahead and let Grace introduce herself for the people who don't know. She's such a extraordinary person, but just to do another reintroduction, and then we'll let Grace take the mantle from there. But let's start with just for the people who don't know. Can you describe who you are, the who's, what's, when's, where's, and why, so people understand?
I'm actually I'm akin to honestly both James and Cherie, which are the parents of Samaje. Um, Little background history. Me and Cherie are related through marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it wouldn't be, blood really don't make you, family. I didn't see this girl grow up. Um, James, I'm akin to James through my uncle. Um, so that's his side. So actually, like I said, I'm in the middle because
Okay.
I'm akin to both of them.
Okay. All right. And for the folks who don't know, the two members of the Semaj Crosby Coalition for Justice, I think that's what we last called it. We started the coalition on the ground. The two young ladies, including myself and others, a few others, to really try our best to continue to bring justice to the baby's death, Samaje. So we wanted to, just to continue to have that voice out there. And we are, as effectively as we speak right now, we have reopened that and just to really put new vigor and new energy into how we can help bring justice to Samaje. So it's a collaborative effort with the community, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong, Tyra.
Yes.
Okay. So, and then let's go ahead and introduce Miss Leslie Jones.
For some reason, my phone is glitching really bad. I don't know what's going
Okay. Uh, Well, you know what you can do because it was working pretty well. You might want to try to let me mute you a little bit. You might want to try to plug it in and then reset it. So I'll give you an opportunity to do that because it was definitely working. So let's do that, and then you can try to come back in. Okay. Work on you have some time, so no worries on it. Okay. All right. So Grace Levi, thank you again for being a co-host on this second segment for us, and just want you to go ahead and take the mantle from here.
All right. Well, if the audience don't know me, my name is Miss Levi. You can call me Grace, either one, interchangeably. I have my own platform where I focus on politics, police brutality, and uncensored topics, as well as I put a little bit of God in there. So I'm here again today to kind of help balance out the topic. A couple of weeks ago, I did do like a trifecta of how the FBI felt the Black community with this case, the Maji case, as well as with the Kanika Jenkins and um, I'm sorry, it's right at the tip of my tongue, Kendra Johnson, because that's something I want to follow up on in other cases. So, highlighting that you have been involved in this investigation from the beginning, it just put everything together. So right now, where we're at, just to give a briefing, we did go over some of the foundations of the case about, how many people were in the home, what were some of the circumstances surrounding the particular home, with defects coming to see what was going on, and then possibly being some defaults with defects leading into a lawsuit now that we, made the audience remember that dad received behind this. But I think some of the things that we're going to highlight is some of the missing puzzle pieces that at that time the sheriff office chose to overlook or may have overlooked. Um, as far as being introduced to Miss Tyra, I think that she is a significant key to this puzzle, as well as Miss Leslie. And I'm just excited to be here to help you guys bring out this information. So, what I'm going to do is sit back and listen, and then I'll chime in with questions with clarifications, and take it from there. But I want to say again, thank you for allowing me to co host with you on this particular topic, because this is something that's very important for the Black community, for us to follow up on many of these cases that has not been solved. Because just because you get money doesn't mean that it is solved in our community. Also addressing some of the dysfunctions that we have in our community and how we should address it with the local police, Black on Black crime, and other things you're going to hear them talk about today. So
Right,
I want
right.
to say thank you, Tara, for coming today, because you wasn't able to come for the last one. I think
You're
your
welcome.
testimony is going to be something that the audience needs to hear.
So with that in mind, I appreciate that, Grace, and yeah. So just feel free to chime in. I'll go ahead and I'll get. Let's start off with the headlines for those who don't know. So if you're just joining in, we are discussing remembering Semaj Crosby. Semaj was a 17-month-old toddler who was found murdered in 2017 under a couch in her family's home in Joliet Township, Illinois. Her death was ruled a homicide by asphyxiation. Despite a prolonged investigation, the case still remains unsolved. I want to say that again, the case still remains unsolved. So if you're just joining in, please feel free to get your questions ready. We do have a chat to engage. You may, put the information in the chat if you have questions, comments, or concerns. So let's start with Will County, and I think it's a perfect segue as Tyra had mentioned. The current status of the investigation. So as reported, so the Will County coroner had determined that the cause of death was at one point initially for I think the first almost a month, the charges, the cause of death was pending. In other words, the coroner had not released the report, and we were still awaiting. I can remember we were still awaiting the lab testing and the toxicology reports to be completed. So we did a little bit of busy work, read and wrote public letters and correspondence to the coroner's office, and successfully and thankfully the coroner did release the report after doing a little bit of prodding. The Will County coroner, that is, and so some of the things that came out of the report was there were no visible signs of blunt force, trauma, or physical injury to the body of Samaje, I should say, to indicate that there was a cause of death. But at the time, the case was considered a suspicious death investigation. So, so what had actually happened was the baby died through asphyxiation, and there were toxicology negative things that were found, which the public may go back and look at the reports, but we can also address a little bit of that too. No one individual has been targeted as a suspect. However, no one individual has been ruled out as a suspect either. And every angle of this tragic incident is still actively being examined, right? So the sheriff's office is asking the news agencies as well as the public and those in the media, on social media sites, to please be patient as this investigation moves forward. And I probably failed to say that the investigation is moving on and has been reopened by the Will County Sheriff's Department. A lot of us in the coalition on the ground believe that they do need help. They do need federal oversight, but that's just our opinion. We're entitled to it. And the facts in the case are still deemed as important as they were in 2017 for public acknowledgement. And the facts still exist. So, the statute of limitations for murder is life. Okay, so it doesn't run out. So that's one of the things that I wanted to advise. So if anyone who is watching has anything that they would like to add or suggest or even say, hey, we would be open for that discussion, that level of discussion. But so the Will County Sheriff's detectives are continuing their investigation, which is good news. But we definitely want resolution, and we hopefully that would happen rather sooner than later. Okay.
I do want to highlight that I did get a copy of the coroner's report. It's about a 22-page document. While you guys are talking, I'm going to double pass, and I'm going to be going through it. And then we can pull some questions from there.
Okay. Okay. So let's go through a little small timeline, and that way we can come back. So April 25th of 2017, and Tara, I'm gonna let you kind of just prod in just as I'm going through the timeline, and then we'll start with just some of your recollections. So we're gonna come to you. But in April 25th of 2017, Samaje was reported missing by her mother, Cherie Gordon. And then 2 days later, April 27th of 2017, following a widespread search with Samaje's body was discovered under the couch in the home. Police said that it would have been physically impossible for the toddler to have crawled there herself. 1 day later, on April 28th, 2017, the home was destroyed by a fire, which Leslie had reminded us about during the last occasion. But the fire seems to have been an attempt to destroy evidence, according to the investigators on the ground, and criticism of the DC at the Department of Children and Family Services. The Illinois, well, you know what? Let's just pause right there. And Tara, as far as the first 3 days, starting from April 25th when Samaje's body was reported, April 27th, 2 days later, Samaje's body was found under the couch. And then April 28th of 2017, one day later, the home was destroyed by fire. Let's talk about your recollection as far as what you knew during that time frame and your participation.
As I explained before, we had got the call.
Your phone is muffled. Um,
Everything was just so perfect.
yeah, I know. Leslie, right now we're talking about the time frame, so either you or Tyra can jump in. So April 25th, 2017, the timeline that I'm sorry.
Am I still muffled as well?
No, no, you are good. You know, you guys may have to come on camera. That might be the issue. You might have to use your video phone instead of using just the audio. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the timeline and then let's see where we're at. So April 25th. On you ladies look beautiful, so don't worry about it. Um, April 25th, 2017, Samaje was reported missing by her mother, Cherie Gordon. April 27th, following a widespread search, Samaje's body was discovered under the couch in her home. The police stated that it would have been physically impossible for the toddler to have crawled there herself. And then April 28th of 2017, as you reminded us last segment, Leslie, that the home was destroyed by a fire, which was later ruled arson, and the fires was seen as an attempt to destroy evidence. So let's start out. We'll pause right there. Let's talk about what you guys remember during that time frame in those days. We can start with you, Tyra.
I remember, like I said, I remember getting the call. I was in the grocery store, and when I got there, they said that it was Cherie's younger baby, Samaje, and they said she had walked off. I instantly knew that didn't sound right. So I asked where was Cherie, and we looked up. We were looking everywhere for Cherie. Finally, I seen Cherie. I spotted Cherie coming out the back of her house in like a, I don't know if it's a school, a park, or whatever it was. And we calling her name. I'm calling her name like Cherie, Cherie. But in the midst of me going to the fence where she can climb over the fence so I could pull her over, I remember the Will County sheriff's trying to charge her, like charge at her and grab her, and I told him no. But when I seen Cherie, Cherie didn't even look like Cherie. I asked Cherie where Samaje at, and Cherie told me Samaje was in the house. And I said, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Yes, she was in the house. I left her. When I left, she was outside." And so I remember us pulling her over the fence, and we kept saying, "Cherie, where's Samaje? Where's Samaje?" She kept saying in the house. Um, by that time, I remember turning my back or something like that to walk away because the sheriffs and everybody had us crowded. So I was saying, get back, give her some room so we could try to figure out what was going on. By that time, Darlene came out and got Cherie and took Cherie in the house. And everybody that was standing outside was wondering why are why is she going in the house? And then when Cherie came back outside, we said, "Cherie, where's your baby?" And she said, "I don't know." And from that point, that's when everybody just started spreading out, trying to find her, and just looking everywhere. Will County brought in the search dogs, and they were searching, trying to get her scent, and they couldn't get her scent from nowhere. But that dog stayed at the window, and everybody was outside yelling to the sheriff to go in the house. Go in the house and see where that dog is sniffing at. Go in the house. They didn't want to do it. They didn't want to listen. So by that time, we went in the house. Everybody that was standing outside went in the house. It was me and a couple of more people that went inside the house. But when we went inside the house, the couch was standing up. The couch was never down. So we continue to search, continue to search. I don't remember where Cherie ended up because, like I said, we all walked off. So I vaguely remember where she ended up at. But I do know when we all came back to her to the house, she kept saying, "I don't know where she at. I don't know where she at. She was outside." So by this time, I'm just a little confused because I'm saying in my head, like, why don't you know where your own child is? You know. But then that's when she later told me that she had left. That she had left. I'm on the phone. She had told me that she had left. Um, so we outside all day, all night looking for her. So then the next day we come back. Cherie never went back in the house. She stayed outside all night. I do remember that because when me and Leslie came back that next morning, she was still outside. And I remember me and Leslie asking her, like, do you remember anything? Do you remember? And she still, as Leslie stated, she still was out of it.
So
So
let
by
me
this time I
let me pause you right there real quick so we can kind of just
Right.
editorialize for the people because I know it's a lot of information,
Hmm.
Tyra. So so this was the at the point before Samaje's body was actually found.
yes,
Is what
this
you're
this
describing. So this was like April 25th and April 26th.
yes, this is the first day. This is the first night that she came up. So
April
after everything,
25th after 8 o'clock, after 8
yes.
p.m. Okay.
So by that time, I mean, you got people I mean, I remember the Amazon workers, all the Amazon workers left work and they were all walking to the field through the field because they all had like lights pinned to them, and they said we have to find this baby. So by that time we were out there till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. We were exhausted, so we left and went home. um I asked Sheree, did she want to come with me, and she said no, she's gonna go find her baby. So when me and Leslie and them, when we all ended up back up there that morning, Leslie, I can't remember what time it was, but I do know it was early. Sheree was still outside, and me and Leslie went up to her and asked her, was she hungry? She said no. And we asked her, where's her baby? And she just busted out crying and said, I don't know. When I left, she was outside.
And this is day one into day two. I just want to clarify if I'm getting an understanding of where we're at. So basically, a call was put out to you as a family member,
Yes.
and you were told that this was your child that was missing.
Yes,
Um,
I was told at first, when we were in Walmart grocery shopping, that it was that I needed to hurry up and get to the house because my child was missing. And the person that I was with at the time, we were
Tara,
confused.
your head is chopped off a little bit there. Thank you.
Oh, and
I
at the
appreciate
time we were confused because I'm like, no. So when I go to my house, not even thinking, I'm like, where's my baby? So then my phone ended up ringing again, like you need to get to Preston Heights because Cherie's baby is missing. So we go up there, and like I said, no Cherie. So I'm confused, and I'm like, okay, so where's the baby go? Everybody
when
kept
you
saying baby, the
clarify,
baby
like,
wandered
when you
off.
first got there, Miss Cherie was nowhere to be found. Yo,
No, no,
so who reported the
Cherie.
baby missing? Not to you, but who do you think like started to if it wasn't her?
that that's the question that I want to know,
Okay.
because I want to know, and that's what I asked Cherie. I want to know who reported Semaj missing, because Cherie was, when we got there, Cherie was nowhere to be found. And Cherie, like I said, maybe about 30 minutes later, Cherie had came from the back. I don't know if she was looking for Semaj. I don't know. So it could have been a possibility that she could have reported her baby missing and just was looking for her. Only thing I know is when we got there, I didn't see Cherie. And that's the person that I was looking for. But end up seeing Cherie maybe 35, 45 minutes later, like I said, walking from the back. I think it's like a school or something. And she was walking through the back. And I remember the sheriffs kept saying, well, where's the mom? Where's the mom? And that's when I turned and I looked and I seen her, and she looked she didn't even look like Cherie. That's what I'm gonna say. And I asked her, and I said, y'all get back, let's just pull her over the fence. As we were pulling over the fence, I remember Will County.
Right here, because that's what I wanted to clarify for the audience too. When you say she didn't look like Cherie, was it a spaced out, drugged out, not there? What did you see when she finally notice.
Me, honestly, I thought it was a spaced out look. But when she went home with me, and when she ended up going home with me, maybe like a 2 days afterwards or whatever. No, a day afterwards. That the next day, she went home with me that night because I said I'm taking you home so you could go try to go get some rest. Um, she still, I don't know. I thought it was a spaced out puzzle look, but to me personally, it was more like a off the wall. And I asked her, I said, did you take something, or I mean, what's going on? And she said she didn't know. She just kept on saying she didn't know. Um, so I asked her, I said, well, what do you remember? And she told me that she remembered them being outside, and she was in the back on her phone, on her telephone. And she said she went to the front door to look out the front door, and she seen Samaj, so she went back in the house and got back on the phone.
Okay. Now, before you go back to that, we'll just backtrack to say when you was pulling her over the fence, because that's where I interrupted you, so the audience could get an idea of what you're seeing and her visual. So go ahead and finish telling when y'all noticed her and you pulled her over the fence. I didn't mean to.
Okay, so when I noticed her and pulled her over the fence, I'm asking her, I'm like, Cherie, where's Samaje? And I said, Cherie, where's Samaje? I said it like 3 times, and she just said to me, I don't know. She said when I left, she said she was outside. But no, she said when I left, she was outside. I said, so where is Shamaje? She said, I don't know. And I said, what do you mean you don't know? And she said, I don't know.
So what did the officers do at this point? Because they were looking for her. Right.
The officers, the officers didn't do anything. The Will County sheriffs didn't do anything. It was more or less by this time. By this time, you got Bourbonnais, Kankakee, like you have Cold City. I remember seeing all of those officers out, and they were more in tune, more than Will County was. They were trying to get questions, and I remember Will County telling them that they needed to back away because they had it under control, but it
So
wasn't under control. Um, so then by that time, JPD came. The detectives from JPD came, and Will County told them that they needed to move because they needed to leave because all the people that were there, it was not their jurisdiction.
that's where the faulty
Now
come.
they said that about 2 or 3 times because me and Leslie, like the third or fourth time they said it, it was daytime and we were all in the back, standing like where it's like a house, like I don't know if it's a Trinity house or whatever. But by that time, we were all back standing back there, and they were telling everybody that was trying to come and help, like it's not their jurisdiction. And I remember me and Leslie telling one of the officers, the one of the sheriffs, that it doesn't matter who jurisdiction this is. We need to figure out what happened to this baby. So I remember him telling us, well, we can make you leave. And me and Leslie told him, we're not going anywhere. Do your job. So by that time, I don't know. All I know is it was just too much back and forth, too much in and out. It was just too much.
So I'm gonna pause you real for one quick second because I just wanted to just announce for the folks who are just joining. If you are joining us, we are talking about remembering Semaj Crosby and the current investigation. And our purpose tonight is
Oh, good.
this is a cold case right now. Her murder has gone unresolved since 2017. So we also pray that this baby gets justice. So real quick, everyone who is in the chat, I just wanted to make sure that we appreciate you joining. So thank you, Ramona. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, and let's just get something get some of those comments out the way real quick, and then we'll come back. Melly Mel says, I pray this baby gets justice. It hurts my heart to see her face with her empty, pleading eyes to get justice she deserves. Hello, Minion, Minion the God. Welcome to the chat. Minion is an influencer. Thank you for joining. And guys, please share when you can. Please share it. Melly Mel, Minion, it's crazy. Uh, Silverback, it's crazy. Thank you for joining. Here's a couple of more comments. Ramona, Beth McBride, thank you for joining. It's so sad. Justice for this baby. Thank you, Brian Wade. Your comment. One thing that I found sad about this case was when the Freedom Frauds tried to extort money and use this baby as a grip. We want to talk a little bit about that too, Brian. We'll come back to that. Everyone here is well aware of that issue, and we definitely want to address that only for the purposes of educating the public. So hello, Brian, and thank you for that comment. And thank you for listening in to the case. Lisa Marie said, what about the friend that was there and failed the lie detector? So give us a second. Do you guys remember the lie detector? Who was that?
Can we let Miss Tyra finish her story? Because this is very interesting. We're on day one, and we didn't get any type of witness statements from day one. But we'll I don't want her to lose her place too.
Okay, yeah. We'll go back to the day one. Let me just get. It's only a few more comments, Grace. Can we just get those out real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah.
So we'll come back. But the friend about the lie detector, just what was the name of that person? Do you guys remember? Just the name. We won't get in depth.
I didn't know anybody failed the lie detector.
I don't
I
think so either, Lisa.
I
I don't
don't
think that happened. I think that what happened was they were interviewed, but no one took a lie detector test that we can remember. But if you do have
I don't
information,
I don't remember anyone taking a lie detector test and failing neither.
okay.
I don't even know. This is my first time hearing that.
Yeah, so Lisa, if you do have information, we'd be more than this segment. It appears that there is neglect. How many adults were present when this baby came you missing? There was neglect. We're going to talk about that part, Ramona. We're going to talk a little bit about that part, and then we'll talk about some of the people who were involved. So thank you again. And Creature said, Tamika, hey, Creature. Brian, again, welcome aboard. Welcome, Creature. So let's go ahead. Oh, she's saying, Creature is saying Tamika took a lie detector test. Well, if she did, we don't remember that. But I mean, even if that were the case, I mean, still the investigation is still open. So let's get back. We'll get back, Grace. Thank you for y'all patience too. Just wanted to just acknowledge.
You kind of you remember where you left off at, Ms.
Talking.
Torres? You were talking about the officers. This is what I wanted to ask you because you were talking about mom being discovered when y'all were looking for her, and it being some controversy amongst the different uh, officials that was supposed to investigate. My question to you: were they formally taking people to interview, just like y'all brought up someone named Tamika, lie detector test? Did they ever formally take you guys to go interview? Phone numbers? Do you know anything of that?
No, no, they didn't do any of that. Um, I remember um stating that because we had asked, like, you know, if a baby is missing, like, shouldn't every person or adult or shouldn't every person that was there, shouldn't they be down at the station? And again, this same Will County sheriff who was giving us the problems before, um, he stated that they didn't want to touch it. They didn't want to touch it. They didn't want no parts of it. And I remember saying to him, like, well, that sounds like a bunch of BS. Well, then, if you guys don't want any parts of it, you need to bring the FBI in. And um it went from there. Um like I said, we were out there all night. I do remember that we left maybe about 2 a.m. And then we were right back up. Then now this is day two of Samaj missing. Um, when we pulled up, me and Leslie was walking up and down the street, and we spotted Cherie, and Cherie had been up all night. Um, we asked her again, "Where's your baby?" And she said, "I don't know. She was outside. I don't know." Um, Will County shows up again. By this time, you got JPD detectives, Matlock, and a couple of more detectives that came up there. I do recall JPD and Will County bumping heads, and JPD left. I do remember that part. They left. Um, and an officer told the sheriff told us that he was going to end up just shutting the whole thing down because it was too much and they didn't want to get their hands dirty.
So
So
Will
we
County and JPD were saying the same thing, but Will County was saying they were the people investigating, but then said, "I'm not touching that."
they
This is
don't
what.
we're not touching that,
Okay.
because we're not touching that and we don't want to get our hands dirty. Is the comment they kept making, and I said, well, that's effed up because it's a baby that's involved. Um, and then we all just branched off again and kept looking, just looking for until we finally said, enough is enough because we sent on a wild goose chase because you had one person saying she went this way, you had one person saying she went this way, when initially we done finally summed it down that she ain't went nowhere. Nobody seen this baby walk off nowhere. So by that time, everybody that was out there that was helping look, we agitated because we getting so many conflicted stories about where she went. She walked off. She wandered off. Somebody took her. I mean, it was just like 12 different stories. Nothing added up. So I took Cherie. Cherie went home with me that night so I could try to get her to go to sleep. I could not get her to go to sleep. She was up all night. She kept saying, I know I seen Samaje. I know I seen Samaje. And she just was screaming in my house. And I said, just calm down. She said, I know I seen my baby. I know I seen my baby. I went to the door. I was on the phone. I went to the door. I glanced out. I looked at her and I went back to the kitchen because she said she was going through some bags of clothes so she can go wash. And she said she went back to the door. She still seen Samaje, so she went back to the kitchen.
And that's what she told you that night when she was in your home.
Yes. And she said that um after that, I guess they all piled up and went to go get ice cream or something. And I asked her, I said, well, was Samaje in the car? And she told me that she didn't remember. I think she said didn't remember. I don't want to lie or nothing like that. But I think she said that she didn't remember. Or I think she said she assumed she was in the car with somebody else. So I'm not really sure.
Okay, I know you're going to get on into a little bit more about what happened where they were doing the search, but I just want to ask you something so maybe this can help the audience clarify. Since you knew Samaji's mom, from childhood and now and have real good connections, what do you think her state of mind was as far as you say she was spaced out, but then she was saying like she don't know. And then I do remember you mentioning that she has like a sensitive type of personality. Can you explain that to the people so they can kind of get an idea about mom and the
I
dynamic?
knew I knew Cherie since Cherie was a little girl. Cherie 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 wouldn't hurt Cherie wouldn't hurt a fly. As long as I've known Cherie, like I said, she didn't been around me, she didn't live with me. Cherie never. Cherie never even whooped her kids. Like she'll yell, "Go sit down" or something like that. But she's soft spoken. You know, like you would never see. I mean, you would never if she was mad or something like that, you would never see it because Cherie always had a smile. You know, she always had a smile on her face. But I one thing I do know is that Cherie, she loved her babies, you know. And every time I've been around her, like she's like, I mean, she didn't help me with my kids, you know. So um, I I just don't. Cherie wouldn't harm a fly. Her, and I'm not saying this in a bad way. So and I don't want nobody to take my words and get them twisted. Um, Hair wise, it's not something that she is. I don't want to say the wrong thing. It's not something that she's capable of doing. Is what I'm gonna say.
mental
Um,
capacity wise. Is that what?
yes, because I'm telling you, the Cherie has a heart of gold. She always has. And when she first had her first son, her first child, she was so happy. I mean, she took care of him because they stayed with me when I stayed on the south end. Her and her oldest son lived with me. And you know, she would always get up, she's cooking for all the kids, they around the house, they cleaning up. Like I just don't see this is just it's just not something because she cherished her kids. And not only her kids, she cherished kids that were around her. You know, like she's the type of person, hey, we finna go to the store, we all finna go get some chips, some candy or something. Like that's just how she is. So
Yeah. So with
Oh,
Cherie
Tyra,
not mental. She's not capable of. She's no putting a baby. No,
so
and I'm
Tyra,
not. I'm not taking up for her or nothing like that. I'm just telling you how I'm just stating how I feel. I'm not pointing the blame or anything like that because I don't know, but I just know that Cherie, not she wouldn't harm. That's a no.
Amir,
so
you was
so
about to say
Tyra,
something?
Tyra, one second. With that being said, let's because we want to kind of want to stick on this timeline a little bit, but I
Mhm.
definitely appreciate it, and then we'll get back to kind of like characterizations of some of the people who were involved. Okay, I think it's fair, and just to kind of keep things in chronological order.
Mhm. You want to move on, or you wanted to go ask a question? I just wanted her to clarify kind of what she was seeing from the mental capacity of mom and how mom was pursuing the situation, and then she went on. She was going to start talking about the actual search actually kind of going on in the dog, and that part was you. Were you at that part?
Yeah, no, that's fine. So either Leslie or Tyra, you guys
Yeah,
can just to kind of and
because
give it more engagement. And so if you want to join in and chime in on some of that as well, Leslie.
because you were there on day two. To the audience, Miss Leslie came in on day two as well. So this part with Miss Tara and Miss Leslie, didn't you guys meet day two and had some interaction and saw some things together?
Yes. Um. Day. What was it, Leslie? Day two.
I know when we were all out there, it seemed like there was so many people up there to search, hundreds and hundreds of people, and they kept sending us away from the house. You remember that?
Yes.
And they were
and
trying to
and that
go out
and
the field.
that's when I come in to say they were telling us that's when I come in to say they were telling us, oh well, she may be here. She walked this way, or no, she went this way. So every time everybody did come back to the house, like the whole search parties, like she said, it was over 100 to 200 people. And can you just imagine? You got all these people going in separate directions. We down at ponds, we all in fields, and it was just like every time we came back to the house, like I said, and that's like again, like I said, we were directed somewhere else. So by this point, this is when we really getting frustrated because everybody is out there like, what's going on? Because y'all telling us this, we got. 50 people going this way. Then you got 50 people going this way. Then you got two people, 10 people going another. It's just like we were sent north, south, east, west. But we all ended up back in the same circle, which is back in front of the house. So if y'all telling us that y'all didn't see her or nobody seen her, what the hell is we going through all these circles for and still ended up back to the house? Then when we ended up up to the house for the last and final time, that's when all hell broke loose because everybody out there was saying the same thing, like this is a joke, because it's hot out here. I mean, it's 95 to 100 degrees outside. It was hot that day. For some reason in April, it was really hot. Leslie, I don't know if you remember, but it was hot. And I
It was
don't know why,
burning
but
up.
it
We
was
ended up
burning up.
walking the whole Preston Heights area through all the houses, all the neighborhoods. Then we came back to the house. We stood there. We talked to Cherie for a little bit. She had on this winter coat with a hood. She just wasn't herself. Then the dog kept barking at the window of the house. The police are sending everybody away from the house. They had us in fields, and it was
Yep.
just total nonsense. Nothing was together. Nothing was organized. They were just sending us every which way. The command station was somewhere like on the corner. Then the detective came out and told us we would help better if we all piled up together and walked through the field to see if we could find any clues or anything. It was a whole clown show.
and,
Seriously.
and the ones who were, and I need to remind you, the ones who were sending us away, the JPD detective was the one who said it'd be better if we all go in crowds and look. Will County is the ones who were sending us in a circle. It
while
was
the
Will
dog
County.
barking at the house.
So when the dog was barking at the house, everybody that's out there is yelling, y'all need to go inside this house. And that's when the sheriff said, they don't want no parts of it because they don't want to get dirty. Is exactly what they said.
I don't remember whose family member it was, but it was a man, and he got really upset. And he's like, "That dog won't leave that window. That baby is in that house. That baby is in that
Yes.
house. You all need to go in that house and look for the baby." And he was totally ignored. And that at that point, they acted like, even like they wanted to arrest him for a disturbance or something. But he was telling them that baby is not out here. That baby is in that house, and you guys are sending us off. It was really sad, and then people got
But
emotional, and it was bad.
that's what the Will County detectives told me and Leslie, that um if we didn't calm down, that we were going to be arrested, because we told them that this is just a bunch of BS, that y'all sending us on a wild goose chase, and ain't nothing getting done. They sitting in cars. They sitting in their cars.
So where
Nobody is out doing nothing.
so where is the FBI at this point? Because the FBI was on the ground initially helping
The
out with
F
the search.
the FBI, I do remember the FBI coming, but I didn't really too much, like we didn't really too much engage in that, because at the time we were talking to Cherie. And that's when they said, okay, well, the command center is over here, so we're gonna take Cherie to the command center. Okay, Cherie went to the command center and we walked over there and said, what's going on? That's when Neil Patil popped up.
And
Can you?
let everybody know who Neil
Yeah.
Patil is.
Neil Patil is a lawyer. He and he came in to step in to for Cherie. And I don't even know where he came from, honestly. Because I'm like, who are you? And he like, Neil Patil. And I'm like, oh, okay.
This is what I want to clarify something too, because um, when the dog was hitting on the window, what window was it? Was it the window where the couch was at? And can you clarify? Because you said one day the couch was up, and then the next day the couch was down. Could you clarify those three things for me?
Well, the window that the dog was at, when we asked Cherie who window was that, she said that's where um Darlene was. She said that was Darlene's room. And I said, okay. Um, and then by that time, the dog is still going crazy, and that's when everybody was outside. And then the guy that Leslie's talking about, he that's when he just got real upset. Like, y'all need to go in the effing house because that's where the dog is at. The baby is in the house. Like he just kept saying it, and then everybody else kept saying it. The second day when we went up there, the second day after Samaj being missing, the couch was still standing up. The night before they knocked on the door, on my door, to tell us that they had found Samaj under the couch. We had just left. We left maybe like 11:45. They came to my house maybe like either past midnight or maybe like 1:15 in the morning because it was pouring down raining. And the couch was still up
Where you
because I
left?
remember peeking my head in the door. So when he came in and told Cherie, and told us what had happened, which what I had already knew on his face because his eyes was, bloodshot red. And I said, "Did you guys find her?" And he said, "Yeah." Cherie was walking out the room, and with a look on her face, and he just told her to sit down, and then told her what happened. And then she even said the same thing. No, my couch was up, and I'm like, that couch was standing up. So somebody put the couch down because the couch was standing up the whole time.
So Cherie
So
acknowledged that the couch was up as well and down, and you're saying that the detective honed in on that.
So let's do this while we're talking.
Leslie, you want to add something more to this because you were there at that time as well? Because this is very.
I never went in the house, but I do remember.
Uh-oh, you went out.
Under the furniture or anything like that, and several people out just standing up. So it's like unbelievable.
Okay. Say it
yes,
one.
the couch
Let's
was standing up.
repeat that one more time, Leslie. Can you repeat that one more time?
Miss Leslie, your service went in and out when you were talking.
Okay, so let's do this while we're waiting. So, Grace, we're gonna just for the purposes of just time, we'll definitely cover that. I wanted to show a picture of the DCFS, since we're on the condition of the house, and some of the things, and I think that this will bring a little bit more light because I think people need to see this. So, I don't think we can see the couch in this shot, you guys. But this is for those who are watching. This is the home where Samaje was found dead, and this was days after her body was discovered. The fact that this house was destroyed by a fire within 3 days, and again, as we had talked about it, the authorities believe the fire was intentionally set. So, I mean, we can still talk about day 1 and 2 and 3, but I just wanted to give a little bit of graphic while we were talking. The details about the house and the discovery of Samaje's body and the conditions. The house was in a deplorable condition and in an unsanitary state. And according to reports, and I think we talked a little bit about it, Leslie, between 5 to 15 people living in the houses at various times, and then photos from at the time showed the trash, the furniture, and other belongings and clutter. In this small, it had to be like a 900-foot space, so this is like the size of most people's garage. It's not a large house dwelling at all, but it's roughly about 900 square feet. So this kind of provides. No, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture. I couldn't find a picture of the couch, but according to the reports on the ground, you guys can substantiate. Was this the typical condition of the house? And then we can go back to like some of the things that you guys saw day 1, 2, and 3. But is this typically how the house was kept and everything?
I had never been.
Yes.
It was okay. I had never been there, and I still didn't go inside when we were searching. I was outside mostly looking. I That's one of my regrets. I wish I would have went in there and tried to go through.
Mm.
some stuff to see, but we heard so many rumors. We heard this baby was so many places. So I don't know. And again, they're rumors and
Yeah.
nobody knows for sure. But I mean, if she got put under a couch, well, and the
Mm.
couch was standing up for 2 days, she was in different places.
Well, this is not even sanitary for, a human being to
I
or
know.
an animal to live in. So, much less,
Mm.
a child. So, tragic. But I'm
And
sorry. Go ahead, Grace.
let's keep this in mind that I did on the coronary report. I was able to find the cases. Remember, I told you that DFACS was going there. They were
Uh-huh.
going there for the last 6 months, seeing that. But
Right.
there were several allegations of abuse, and I found the one of the suspected sexual abuse of the 3-year-old. So on the next live when we do, we could go into this document. They had extensive reports here from DFACS. Well, I call it DFACS. I do apologize.
Yes,
Child
it's
Protective
DCFS for those who
Services.
are, just so we don't confuse anybody. Department of
Yeah,
Children and Family Services.
Child Protective Service. So they saw this, and that's why now it makes even more sense why the settlement was so large because they have an extensive report here, which seems to be not the truth of several visits coming to this home. But I'll just let you guys continue because even if people would have been like, "Hey, well, you saw the house," DFACS saw this
Yep.
house too.
Let's grab some comments because I just want to keep this
Yeah.
thing moving and then we'll continue. So, Creature said, y'all know Creature, by the way? We believe we know who Creature is. Been there since day one. Have video snapshots from all the Crosbys in their lives, and also mentioned how the Crosby females were abusive towards Cherie. Um, I mean, if you guys want to respond to that, we're kind of not at that point just now. We want to do characterizations, but since it's up, if you just want to briefly respond to any of the comments, feel free to. If not, we just gonna keep rolling to it. And Creature, we definitely get back to the characterizations right at the end about all of the people involved because we definitely have that.
Yeah, because we haven't talked about Miss Darlene in her
Right,
role in this at
right.
all.
Right, and we want to do that. So, and we, just in the time frame that we have. So, Creature, we'll definitely get back to that. So, stand by. Allowing a fake search to go on when people knew that the sweet baby was in that couch is criminal. They impeded the investigation and instructed justice. I mean, yeah, we definitely, you are preaching to the choir, and we all believe that. Help me understand. The adults never looked at all in the house is really making me angry. Well, it's not even the investigation on the ground. Definitely, there was a lot of balls that were dropped. The investigators, Joliet or Will County, the lead investigating force was the Will County Sheriff's Department, I believe, from day one. And I mean, it was just a lot going on and a lot of missteps. And I mean, I wasn't there, but I mean, just from putting together just the reports and looking through earlier reviews and coming maybe a couple of weeks, like a week or 2 weeks later, actually. I don't even think it was 2 weeks. It might have been a week. But anyway, let's see. Creature said, who was in the house the first night if Cherie did not go in? That's a great question. That's for day 1, 2, and 3. You guys want to have any recollection of that?
Tara, who stayed there? That did anybody stay there that night?
From my understanding, Darlene, um, I think everybody that stayed there was there. Um, because I remember them one officer saying that, oh, just close the door and go to sleep.
Mm, I'm sorry, y'all.
Okay.
He said, just close the door and go to sleep.
Wow. That's
So,
crazy.
and then at the time when they went to sleep, just to verify, the couch was still up when and and
When
you
we
left.
when we walked off from that door, I peeked. I remember peeking my head in again, and I looked, and they said, "Well, we finna go to sleep." I can't remember somebody in the house saying they was finna go to sleep or something like that. And then the Will County sheriff that was standing right there was just like was just saying, "Well, close the door and go. Close the door and lock. Close the door and lock everything up and go to sleep." And we was just like, "Wow." I can't say what I really want to say on here, but yeah,
Could could you
Will
two
County, Will County, and every day we were there, they just kept stating they didn't want no parts of it. They didn't want to get dirty. They was not going in the house. They didn't want to get dirty. They didn't want this. They didn't want no parts of it. It's just what they said.
and dirty was physically dirty? This is what I'm kind of getting
Yes,
at.
Well, we just showed a picture that
So
it was, the
that's what they
clutter.
kept saying, dirty, physically dirty.
Right,
So the
right.
question is too, can we ask about what was Miss Darlene doing throughout all this? Did you see her on the first day, second day? How was she? Any both of you ladies
I
in
I didn't see her.
from day
I
Yeah,
one?
I
seen
didn't
her.
see her either.
I seen her the first day. That night we was up there, I seen her, and after that, I didn't see her no more because, like I said, when we came back the second day, me and Leslie, we got out the car, we walked over, and we was looking for Cherie again. It's hot outside, and we're wondering why does Cherie have on a winter coat? And we asked her, did she go back in the house? And she said, no, I've been out here all night looking for my baby. And we never walked back towards the house. And when we did walk back towards the house, um, we still never seen nobody. Nobody. We never seen nobody come out.
I didn't see them. The only time I was able to see them was on the news. Remember the first night the news came up and interviewed them because they were looking for the baby? And I
Yeah,
didn't know them. The only one I knew was Cherie. I didn't know anybody else. And that's when I saw um the other people that lived there. They were standing behind Cherie when she was being interviewed on the news.
I just want to clarify something. So the two basically ladies of the household, I would assume, because this place was rented or owned by Miss Darlene, the grandma, right?
No, that was Cherie's home.
that
Okay,
was Cherie's home.
it was Cherie home. So mom and Cherie, kind of like the main two, were not there for a majority of the time that you were telling me.
Oh my! Do you guys see this? I didn't know that creature. I had no idea.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Might as well
Okay.
get to it right now.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Might as well get to it. So let's get to some of the more comments. So according to Creature, we don't really know who are you, the part that you play, but you seem to be someone who was in the know. So according to Creature, Darlene was selling Percocets during the search. These are allegations, y'all. During the search in the days following. So these are allegations. We have heard something like that.
Oh
I would
wow.
be amiss to say that I hadn't heard about that, but here's another thing that was said. Let's talk about all the females that were in the home when Samaj went missing. It's important to note that it's important to know who was there before Samaj went missing. There was a social worker who was there that day. We're going to talk a little bit about. We're going to move on really quickly to the DCFS case because that aspect of it. Because I really want to segue into that. Just give us a quick second and real quick. Yes, a lot. I'm not sure who they were actively looking to cover up. Well, yeah, we definitely want to get to that. Lots of cover up, but yes, there is a cover up. And then no, it was Cherie's, Darlene's, and Lucretia's were squatting in that home. There were squatters as well. We heard, but I mean, that again, these are all allegations, but thank you for that. Thank you for those comments, everyone, and just continue. So go ahead. Do we want to move on to the DCFS case, or do we have that aspect of it? Because I definitely have a video to show it. Were there any more questions as far as day one, two, three, and who
Yeah,
was around?
Well, you can show the video if you want to, and then
Okay.
if I pull up anything significant, the defect is not even pertaining to Shamaji as far as the old cases. They were just
Right.
the children
Right.
inside the house.
Okay. So here's one of the things that had come up even on a lot of the first and second day conversations. So what folks did not know, and you guys could elaborate, stop me. The Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, we call it DCFS, was heavily criticized for its mishandling of the case. The agency had received 11 prior reports of abuse and reported missing. So the home was described,
Yes.
as we said, as being in deplorable conditions, unfit for human occupancy. So, to your point earlier, Grace, one of the reasons why the settlement came was because the Department of Children and Family Services definitely dropped the ball. So let's show the video of the DCFS questions, officials who were questioned about that. Let me show that right now, and then we can come back, guys.
And I'm Erica Sargent.
And I'm Rob Johnson. Illinois lawmakers grilled DCFS about mistakes made and changes that are needed. Roseanne Tellez has more from today's hearing.
I really get the impression that you guys really don't understand the importance of what it is that you're supposed to be doing.
Lawmakers wanted to know what DCFS is doing to prevent incidents like the death of 17-month-old Semaj Crosby. Caseworkers deemed the home where she was living dirty but safe just days before the toddler was found dead beneath a couch. Why wasn't she removed?
It is a traumatic experience that can be as enduring as the neglect or physical abuse that initially brought the child into our line of sight.
Walker called the Crosby case a perfect storm involving poverty, a mother's impaired abilities, and an intrusion of people living in the home. She outlined several action steps, including better ways of tracking cases, so caseworkers know if the agency's visited before. In the past, there was no record of calls deemed unfounded.
What we need is to expand the lens so that we're not just looking at episodes, but we're looking at trends.
But Representative Flowers says she is tired of excuses.
There's nothing new under the sun. This is just common sense. This is all about respect.
I hope that DCFS is held accountable, and I hope that they make sure that this never happens again.
And that was Semaj's godmother, who also spoke today. Flowers says there are funds and programs already in place that could have helped this family. At one point, she told the director, "It's on you now." Her words, to get the house in order. Well,
You called it a wake-up call for DCFS. Do you think they got the message today with that hearing?
I think they did, and certainly the director tried to convey a sense of urgency. She said this is something that we are working on. They have other outside companies taking a look at some changes, but she said don't think for a minute we're sitting back and waiting.
Right. Although this kit is not enough for Semaj at this point. There are so many other families in the system that need to see these changes.
Absolutely. They've got a lot of work to do.
Okay. Thank you.
So, guys, let's really drill that down because I think it's very important. So I know that Leslie was at the hearing, and I met the action team at the point. I was also there, but while we're doing that, I just want to pull back up the picture of the home, or if I still have it, I might not have it. I think I do. Hold on. Let's look at this again and talk a little bit about just the conditioning of the home. So go ahead, Leslie. From what was your impression while I just share this picture again about the home and the deplorable conditions? And so you guys were saying, we all said we were talking a little bit about day 1, 2, and 3. Now when the search and everything were going on, could you clearly see a lot of this condition when you guys were looking in the windows of the house?
I never looked in the windows of the house. By the time I got there, they had it blocked off. They had the street blocked off where the house was, so I was like at the corner. Um, no, so I really didn't see any of this. I didn't see it until the media, took pictures and brought it out.
Okay. What is what's your what was your standpoint about that, Tara? Sorry.
I I didn't know. I I didn't go in the bedroom, so I didn't know how the rooms looked. I didn't know that until I seen the pictures. Um, no, until actually we went in there because the Will County Sheriff had called Cherie's lawyer, Neil Patel, and said that if Cherie didn't come up there to the house to remove the guinea pig and all the other animals that were in there, that they were going to charge her um, with animal cruelty. So that's when I got a chance to get the walkthrough of the house, and we had to come through the back door. Um, then when you tried to come in the back door, it was just Bogarted with black garbage bags. Because like I said, she stated that she was, getting clothes together so she can go to the laundromat. Um, but when I did a walkthrough of the house, I'm like, this is not Cherie. Cherie is not she's not a nasty person. She always cleaned up. So I was shocked myself when I seen it.
This is when I asked a question. Amir, did anybody make a report about the way the police investigated this case? Because they were just too good to walk in the house, touch the house, do anything. That's what it sounded like. They had no care because they were better than the situation. So did anyone go to try to report the actual investigation unit? Because you know me, I tell on the police, I tell on them.
Yeah, so not early on because here's the thing. The investigators were, I mean, it was just a cluster of different, and you guys can correct me if you don't agree, you don't have to agree, but from what I know, it's just a cluster of different things. I mean, there were people who were adding to confusion. Like one person mentioned, like some of the activism on the ground, the activism were fighting each other, the activists, and there were people bringing confusion. Not only that, but I mean, there were people making all kind of allegations and rumors up. So they were really trying to chase down a lot of things, and it just added to the clutter. And yeah, I can remember talking to R.J. Austin, and I mean, we as a collective, including Tara, including Leslie, we really tried to just stay away from just innuendo and allegations. Just tried to help get as much facts out there as possible from a community perspective without accessing blame.
Well,
But I mean, you had a flurry of people just bringing a lot of nonsense and just, I mean, I was told, and I don't know, you guys can attest to it that I mean, people are just making up all kind of stories, and any time, and I think the police were getting frustrated. I'm not giving them a back door either because they did mishandle the case. But anytime you have a case like this and it's known, you're gonna have people, and then they're gonna bring all these crazy leads, and they mentioned that they tried to investigate every time somebody had an allegation, but it was time consuming. So you had a synergy of things going on, and it just didn't help. It didn't help to resolve the case, Grace.
okay, I understand. But I can't give them leeway in this particular situation
They
because
don't need leeway.
thank you. They never entered the home. The baby was there. So I understand the chaos because that's one of the things that we meet on. All of the detractivists, the people making confusion. But they never went into the home. And when they were hit with the bloodhound giving them a scent, it wasn't followed through. So I do think that this does, because this needs to be reported, because this will ensure that the police department never ever handles this like this again. That's kind of where I'm at, when it comes to certain investigations, because we can talk about what happened, but we also got to talk about the defaulty of how they handled the investigation. So do you see any viability in possibly, especially with Miss Tara and Leslie's story? They are witnesses. They said things that were very important, you know what I'm saying, that could have shed light and pushed the cops in a direction to maybe ask someone some more questions. As you say, you don't want to put blame, but regardless, we just gotta,
No, no, it's not that I don't want to put blame. Like I said, Will County dropped the ball from day one. And I firmly believe that. And even they didn't even release the coroner's report. We had to do that. So my thing is that it wasn't really a matter of not assessing blame. It was a matter of, I'm just saying that there was a lot of confusion on the ground, and it hindered the investigation as well. So it just really wasn't. We had even asked for early FBI. One of the things that I asked for was early FBI intervention because I warned the detectives on the ground that it would be a cold case if they didn't get the feds involved because Will County just wasn't equipped to handle this murder investigation, and we all believe that from day one. So I mean, yeah, they do have fault. They are to blame. They
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 are to
have to
blame.
access
Exactly.
blame in this case, and they don't get a back door. Like I said, it's just a matter of there were other factors, and I mean, So my thing is that um, I'm just trying to bring as much of the facts into it as possible, just based upon where I stood. But yeah, the Will County, they weren't equipped to do this investigation, and that's what I firmly believe. And y'all could agree to or disagree.
No, you're fine. Look, there's a comment that was very interesting.
Let's pull it up. Give me 1 second. Let's pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's just real quick. I'm just going down the line because I just hate to. So inside the home, Lucretia, Darlene, Cherie were in that home along with the younger kiddos. Yeah, that's what we know. And don't know who Wesley was, y'all. But y'all can tell us who
Yeah, know who
Wesley
that is.
was.
I don't know who was Wesley.
I
See,
don't
it's my first time hearing that name too.
know. Well, Creature seems to have a lot of inside information. Animal cruelty. What about human cruelty?
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing we said.
Yeah.
It's inconclusive.
When it comes up, did we get to this? Is this the common grace? When it comes up,
Uh-huh. Is this no, the last one at the bottom will be the one.
yeah,
She
this
talks
is.
about
Oh,
Nina.
okay. Okay, yeah. So there was a birthday party, and the suspects were there. And here's the thing: everything that was done, even up until that point, was done to try to bring as much attention to what was going on the ground, and to try to make whoever did this come forward and comfortable and coming forward. So that not only was a part of that strategy, but to try to keep the information out there at the same time so nobody wouldn't forget. So that's one of the things. And yeah, we actually did the birthday party for Semaj to bring everybody together to try to make the environment conducive enough that people would see that it wasn't going away, and to bring a level of hey, we gotta bring this to the law because it's not going away. And that's one of the strategies that we try to do. So just so you know, there was a lot of confusion that hurt the case. Right, Beth. That's all I'm saying. The police
That's
did a quick
exactly,
search.
Beth.
The police did a quick search, but they were told Samaje was outside. Um,
And I
here's
understand that, but cops usually when the kid is missing, they look right inside first. So I do understand that they're this way, but they're terrible. But I just wanted to add that because
yeah.
they
Look,
did.
is that the comment, or are we still getting to it
This is the comment right here.
now? Okay. You want to go ahead and read that for me?
Latoya said that when she got there, Nunu, because I don't know these people, the slow daughter was in the bathroom. She would not come out, and they would go next door to pee. She thinks that she had the baby's body in there with her. Do y'all know anything about that? Because I know, just indication, we kind of thinking dog hit by the window. It was Miss Darlene's room. Could it be a possibility that the body was moved around? Do you know anything about this? Who do we still have?
Before you
Leslie?
Tara.
yeah.
Tara?
So Tara, they're saying Nunu was in the bathroom. Almany one, she would not come out, and they would go next door to pee. She thinks she had the baby's body in there with her. Listen,
Now, see,
go ahead,
I
Tyra.
did, I did hear that somebody was in the bathroom, but I never knew that it was Nunu.
Okay.
For a long time. They,
Yeah,
they were in there for a long time.
for a
Okay,
long
so
time, but I never knew who it was.
okay, this is great that we're having this conversation. Um, Shout out to everyone in the audience, the ones who have been following this case and putting this pertinent information because it's kind of highlighting certain things, and we're able to, bring Miss Tara uh, story and Miss Leslie's story to life. So now we know that there was time for someone to be in the back room for a long time. I am so surprised that this scene was not shut off. It made an actual scene for at least 24 hours or at least a couple of hours.
It wasn't shut off, and that's when me and Leslie asked the sheriff, why is y'all need to shut this off because it's too much in and out. I mean, people were still going in and out the house. You know, it and we asked him like, when are you guys gonna stop this? Because there's too much back and forth.
Okay, so right now we're an hour and a half into this. Where do you want to continue with the broadcast, Amir, as far as because we're going to continue to do broadcast
Yeah,
and
let's
yeah,
just talk.
to
No,
unpack.
I got you, Grace. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Let's just talk about two more aspects of it, and then we can go ahead. So here's one of the things. So you mentioned about the lawsuit, and we can talk a little bit about that, but then we can move on to just kind of end it to whereas the baby's body was found, and then just talk a little bit about how what needs to happen with going forward. So but since we were on the lawsuit claimed that the contractors had been negligent and failed to perform the safety assessments correctly. So we were talking about the DCFS. There was a third party contractor who was actually assigned, and it wasn't an agent, but it was an outside agency that did it. So the criminal investigation remains open, as we said. The investigators have stated their belief that those involved in Semaj's death and the subsequent cover-up have been refused. Let's just, Tara, I just want to just highlight two more things. Tara, this is a picture of Semaj's funeral, and were you there that day?
Yes, I was.
Okay. So, and just kind of, we want to come full circle because I think it's just something important to highlight for folks. And I mean, the Prayer Tower Ministries Church of God in Christ in Joliet, and I mean, hundreds of people came, including the family and friends and community members that came to pay respects to Samaj, and it was just heartbreaking for a lot of the folks. The funeral held, was definitely something that, again, was just heartbreaking. It's hard to really put into words. The visitation followed by the celebration of life was that day on May 5th, 2017. So just to give people just a visual of what it was. And even in the eulogy, the pastor criticized the Department of Children and Family Services during his eulogy. Pastor Doris, Warren Doris Jr., who we actually had a press conference inside of the church with James, I believe. DCFS, in my opinion, DCFS failed this family. The caseworker had
They
visited.
did.
The caseworker had visited the home hours before, like we said. Go ahead, Tyra, you can jump in. I'm sorry.
They did. They failed the family, especially with the um caseworker being there 30 minutes or earlier that day or however it went. And my thing is you knew how the house was or whatever the case to be, but yet still y'all didn't do anything to to remove the kids or help the situation. It was just, but from my understanding, that the social workers never went in. The social worker would always see the kids outside.
Oh my God. Sorry, y'all. Sorry.
So
I'm saying, oh my God, to you. I'm sorry. That's why I put myself on mute sometimes. It's
yeah,
very
no, no,
hard.
no, 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 no. You feel free to express your emotion because everybody, and here's my thing. Like I said, there now we have two agencies that are culpable. We have DCFS and we have the Joliet Police, who if any one of these if any one of these service-oriented agencies would have did their job,
Yep.
this baby would still be alive. I believe. What do you
Exactly.
got?
Because
I agree.
yes, I truly believe that, because you were there prior, you were there earlier that day. So you knew the conditions, you knew exactly what was going on. So for your little 15-minute visit that you always came and did, that's what Cherie told me personally, that she only came and was there for no longer than 20, no she was no she was there no longer than 30 minutes. And every time she came, she would always see the kids outside. So you never went inside to see anything. You just came to see them and left.
Yep.
Yeah.
We could give some more substance into some of these reports. I'm kind of okay. So I thought I had the coroner report, and I would really like a copy because I'm trying to determine. I see one article saying that asphyxiation was the cause, and one said undetermined. So do you know which one it was, Amir, as far as asphyxiation or undetermined?
It was
Is the
asphyxiation,
asphyxiation.
and what happened was there
Right.
was there were the toxicology report came back, and there were substances that were also found inside the baby's body.
Okay, I would love to see a copy of that because I could be able to
It's on the
determine.
coroner's report.
I'm okay. That's what I don't have a copy of it. So right
I
now,
thought you said you had. I'm
I
sorry.
did. I thought I did. This was the DFAX report, so I do apologize. That's why I
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to
I got
clarify.
you. I
So if
got
I can, I'll look to see because I would like to see some of those substance because when they say it's asphyxiation, other things can cause that. I wanted to know did they see any bruising around the neck or anything.
you. No,
Um,
no. The baby
yeah,
regurgitated off of some of the chemicals. That's what was in the report.
some
Um, yeah.
some
Yeah,
chemical.
and it caused asphyxiation. So she choked up. She regurgitated on the chemicals that were. But let's do this. Let's just get the official report so we can just be
Yeah,
100% exact, and then we can
exactly,
address that because I don't like to,
exactly.
especially said things like this. Come
But
on,
that, regardless, everything we say is allegedly outside of us showing your report. But it's good for us to have these conversations. Can I
exact.
just give the audience a little idea of how intense that they actually came to this house? It should have been way more than just that one time. We have a report on 4/24, 2015, where they found the child, 5 years old, scratches, bruises observed on the body, abrasions, and well, that case was still looked up into 6 2015. So these are open cases. Again, they came here in 5/24, where they noted about approximately 30 people residing in the home at this time. And another child was reporting suicide ideations and not feeling comfortable and afraid of their mother, whoever this was. There's numerous. One in September. I just want to give y'all a heads up that this wasn't a 15-minute thing. They had to know that this house had severe case of child abuse. It is a lot. Some cases, one on 10/5 of a doctor noting abrasions inside of some of the kids' legs related to this property. They went in then. This was a gross situation, and that's why I say too, if we're gonna go after defects or child protective custody, we do have to go after the police and who checks them too, because this is why they were able to get checked because they were able to pull up all of these reports. So I hope that the new detective actually don't disregard, because I know he needs the original report to see the defects, but also I hope they ensure that some of the people who were involved in this case, as far as investigating, they got to get recommended. You know me, I
Well,
don't care.
this
They
is
and that's outside
I
of this. This
agree.
is not
I
your first.
agree.
But I really do believe a letter need to be written to them, and I may write a letter. I'm sorry.
You know, whatever the reason why we're doing these segments is because we want to see what we can do and
Mhm.
still help towards resolution. So that would work. My thing to everyone and everyone who's watching is look, and we will we're kind of getting close to the end, but I just want to get down to some comments. But what I was going to say is, look, y'all, this is not over with. It's still a current investigation, and there's two ways to fight these types of cases, especially when it becomes a cold case. There's the court of law and the court of public opinion. Public opinion can sway the court of law. So we wanna keep pushing. We want to keep bringing the attention forward. We want to keep talking about this baby. You actually have a relative of Samaje right here, Tara, who can tell you, about the pain of this baby being lost, and you know, she's not gonna give up. We're not gonna give up, and
Okay.
y'all get, we got to keep calling. Let's pressure Joliet. Let's keep calling them. Let's let them know we want justice, even if we don't have any facts. Let them know that we want this case resolved. Because I think if it were any other community,
Come on.
this were a, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
Come on.
This
Say it.
if this were
Come on.
maybe if this were an affluent Caucasian community or something like that, maybe this case would have been resolved.
Exactly.
I don't want to be discriminatory in the statement, but I do want to say that maybe that plays a part in it, because justice should have had, with all of the things that the community knows and we know. I believe justice should have happened, and I think we all feel that way.
Yep.
I got it. Yep.
Yep.
Let's
That's
knock
what
out
I was
some of
waiting
these.
on.
Go ahead, Tara. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's what I was waiting on to say, but I didn't know how to say it in those words. I feel exactly the same way you do. I feel like they just, if it would have been a little baby, this would have been resolved. But because they got calls and over, they said Will County Sheriff has so many calls to the unit to where they just threw it away because there was always something going on. It was always something going on at Cherie's house.
And Will Connie
So
did say that there were legal hurdles, like Patel, like Cherie getting lawyered up right at the beginning. Before the search was even conducted in the house, Patel was standing right there, stopping the folks. And I don't know how much he stopped the folks, but you can discuss that or not discuss it, Tara, because I wasn't there. So, give me 1 second.
Yeah, you know what? I was about to say this. I want to add this comment because I see Beth comment and she said Caucasian parents sometimes face justice. And honestly, I think the cops probably would have approached it similarly to as a Caucasian parent, especially highlighting the fact of how gross and disgusting their actual agency was. Because it was police phone calls that came to this. So I do understand because they treat us different, but honestly, I think they probably would have did the same thing or covered it up. You know, I just wanted to highlight Miss Beth.
No, I mean, I don't. You have to know the demographics of this area and how Joliet Sheriff and Joliet Police work, and how there is a lot of disservice. And you could correct me if I'm wrong, Tyra, if you feel indifferent, but there is a lot of disservice, and there is a lot of discriminatory practices from Will County. They were sued numerous times about it, and I even experienced it when I was down there going
yes,
going through the jails.
I agree. I think so. But I was kind of thinking maybe they would have covered up because it would have been an embarrassment if it
I'm
would
gonna
have.
I'm gonna skip through. Go ahead, Tara. While you're doing that, I'm gonna skip through the comments. We're gonna get to them, and I hear you. I hear you, Grace. But I'm sorry.
No, we good.
If I'm missing anything, just feel free to bro me over, both of y'all, because I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything that you're saying or anything that anybody is saying. But Tara, you had something you want to say in there.
if I did, it'll come back to me.
Lucretia called and Tamika over to do hair, and Tamika got there. She went and sat down on the couch, and Lucretia panicked and told her, "Don't sit there. There are roaches in the couch." Well, yeah, a lot of allegations still flooring creature, and you know what? You should really get with us and really discuss this on the even after the fact. If you got an email Amir Shakur speaks, and we could definitely have we all could have just a round table or just a personal conversation, private conversation offline. So, it seems like you have a lot of advanced knowledge about it. Why was James' sister and his mother defendants in one of the DCFS cases? Because James was actually at one point the executor over the estate because he wasn't there when the baby was murdered. So he was instrumental in moving that forward. So they probably did it that way. And one of the reasons why he got the attorneys to fight is because that I urged him to because at this point, he wasn't there, but I mean, it was the right thing to do. But I believe that reports have shown that the state was taken away, and the settlement basically was. I think that there's a proprietor over this settlement, so I think the court put a proprietor over there. But I mean, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. So let's go ahead and move forward. Look at the pics from when the police bought Easter baskets to the kiddos. Yeah, I saw those. We can share those during the next segment too. Give me a second. Let's just go through this real quick. And if y'all want to stop me, stop me. There are some pics of the house when the police came over for Easter. Substance in the baby. Thank you for that, creature. And we will definitely talk about, a little bit more about those things as well. Substance in the baby's body indicates something bad happened. Of course. We believe that as well. Semaj even had roaches in the report. That's correct. There were roaches that were, feeding off of her carcass. That is known. All the children deserve good care and safety. We definitely agree on that, Beth. Whoever it is, and we should, the way that the neglect was and the deplorable living conditions were enough that they should have even gotten services. Being poor is not a crime, but if you're indigent and you have babies like that in the home and they're not being nurtured, they're not being fed, they're not getting the resources and nurturing that they mean. Both Grace and Tara work in the medical field, and they can both tell you. I mean, it's something that services should have been rendered at best. At worst case scenario, maybe the kids could have been put into a temporary situation until the home got better. So again, we know that the ball was dropped at this point. Average people at times have neglected their children. God knows people's true story, and yes, they do. And it's unfortunate we hear these types of stories, especially when they lead to situations such as this. The damn family should speak up. They know we don't dispute that. We agree with that. And this is the comment that we already made. Yes, everybody should face justice. We hope that these people face justice. But I will tell my story someday. Definitely, definitely. I have screenshots. Creature Amir Shakur speaks at gmail.com, or Grace and Tara will leave their information. You can contact any one of us, or we do have the coalition. I'll put that in here. Yes, James was in jail when Semaj was murdered. Okay, guys, that was it.
Or they can contact the actual investigator if they have a lot of information that he could use. But I got a copy of just the release of the coronary report from Mr. Patrick. So you were right. I do have a picture if y'all want to see it. But I think for the next broadcast, just to give y'all a heads up, I'm going to try to get a full copy of it if you don't have it, Mr. Amir, so I can see what type of substance was found in her. So we can kind of,
Right. Well, from a medical. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so we can just kind of expand the conversation because it's not allegations, it's education, and the more we talk, the more people come out with things. And I think it's going to, shed light on this situation. Help them.
So
That's my next thing, just to let y'all know what I'll be trying to bring forth is that full report so we can see what type of substance was in baby girl body. And we didn't get total clarification on more of Miss Darlene's role as far as part of the 2 days, because I know she said that they didn't see her a lot, but I think it's more that we're missing. Do you think?
Yeah. So we can talk. I think the next time we can talk a little bit about character, the characterizations of the people who were involved in that sort of thing. Tara, and we hope that you and Leslie can come back. And then, Creature, I left the Semaj Crosby Coalition for Justice page in the chat, and then I'm gonna leave my email. And then, like Grace's murder, so please feel free that if you have any questions about it, let's get this information over to Will County. And again, you guys, let's call Will County and have them do the right thing. This is actually Samaj's grave marker grave, and it's I believe money was raised for this, so we want to make sure that. Let me just pull up. This is. Have you seen this, Tara? Have you been there, Tara? What did you say?
We lost Miss
we
Leslie.
lost her. We lost her. That was Leslie.
No, I said we lost Miss Leslie a little while ago.
Oh yeah, their phones probably died because we lost Tara too. But we're getting off, so let's just do that. Let's just do this. I want to. Well, you know what? I'm going to editorialize, but was there any last minute comments
From me or the audience?
from you?
Well, I'm glad that this investigation is not closed, and I'm glad that the new sheriff is actually an investigator in the sheriff department is taking this seriously. Also, I'm excited to know that we have other people whose voice was not heard at that time, and their voice could possibly be heard, like Miss Tara and Miss Leslie. I think that their account of things was very important. And again, I have to say, guys, that I do believe that some follow-up should go towards the conduct of this police department to ensure that this never happened, because some of these actors or people who was involved in this are still there. So while the case is still open, I know this is now that you invite me to be your co-host and your helper, I do want to take the torch to try to, like I said, get the full coronary report to get an idea of what was the substance, and maybe just tell the investigator how good of a job I think he's going to do in some of the defaults, and hopefully that it just help put pressure, because communication is just communication, and we all have the right. Anyone who is watching, whose heart is touched by this, you can email, express your feelings. That will make them push things further. As Mr. Amir said, with the push of the people in the media, they released that report. They moved because they wasn't going to do it because they didn't have respect for the community. So the only way that they're going to have respect for us is if we make them respect us. And that's with our communication, our due diligence, and our moves. So I think that this is a great topic, and thank you again for bringing this to the light. We need this. We need
Very
this.
beautifully said. And I just want to say, because you might have even stole the words right out of my mouth. I just want to say to the community at large, we don't have to settle for less when it comes to global investigations, and when there are folks in our community that are hurting, children, elderly, people who are not proficient at protecting themselves, then let's see what we can do in order to fill that void, fill that gap. If the police are not doing the investigations correctly because of for whatever reason, then let's find ways to pressure these people, because we have to make sure that these first responders and these people do what they're supposed to do, which is serve and protect. And we don't have to settle for less. So let's think about how we move forward from here. We want Semaj A.H, Creature, and everyone else, and Ramona and Mel and everyone, and even the folks who I missed, Brian Wade. Let's just figure on where we go from here, because we want this baby's life avenged. If you are the person who committed this crime, I also want to say to you that justice is a two-way street, and to be honest with you, if you did it, it's still not too late to make things right with God, make it right with yourself. If you don't believe in God, then just believe in that this was a life that was taken of a beautiful young innocent child. Let's get this thing redeemed, because it's still an opportunity for you to make good on yourself when you look into the mirror and you see yourself, and you have to know that there was a life that was taken. Or even if you knew about it and you didn't bring that information forward, I'm saying it's still not too late, because this beautiful baby didn't deserve what she got. She didn't even have a chance at life. So we want to make sure that we help and assist wherever we can. And the biggest thing is that we want to make sure that there's a resounding message that this thing is still going on and we haven't let it go. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I agree. So it's time to repent. So thank you guys for being here with us today. You guys are amazing. Continue to share and like and get more people who are engaged in this particular case so they can come and help us, because you guys in the audience has been amazing. Y'all bringing out key things that really is filling it whole. So thank you, Creature. Thank you, Ramona, Melly Mel 22, Beth. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Minion, and everybody who joined earlier, and Almany, we ain't gonna forget you. And thank you, Leslie and Tara from the Semaj Crosby Coalition for Justice. And we on the ground, we working, y'all. It's crazy. We ain't forgot you. And if there's anybody who we forgot, we ain't trying to forget y'all, but we do have respect for y'all time. So thank y'all again. Please feel free to leave me an email at Amir Shakur Speaks at gmail.com. Amir Shakur Speaks at gmail.com. And I think we good. Grace Levi, wonderful job, and I appreciate you so much, Queen.
Thank you. Have a blessed
Good night, okay? All right.
night.
All right, y'all.